Moment of truth. Welcome to day 11 here on my do-it-yourself exposure unit. Now on day 10 you saw me, I soldered half of the LED lights, but today I'm going to add the rest of the half of the LED lights that I need to go on here, as well as solder that part. And looking back at my old videos, didn't do my best to explain what I was doing, but I'm going to try my best to explain it this time. Okay, so I'm going to add the rest of the LED lights, the LED strips, and I'm going to try to explain how I did it on my other previous days. So what I did was, the first thing I did, so I grabbed my 20 by 24 inch aluminum screen, because these are the ones I want to invest more in the future. I'll place it on here. I noticed enough how much the distance I wanted. So right now the LED strips I have, they're about like an inch on both sides, inch here, wider than the screen, and it's gonna be about the same on the sides, probably more than half an inch. So what I did is I measured the length, and I got 70 centimeters, which is about almost 20 inches. And yeah, I'm using centimeters because I'm living in Mexico and they use the metric system, so I kind of have to get used to them, because you go to places, everything's by centimeters, meters. But yeah, it's actually easier than inches. But anyways, so yeah, so this is 70 centimeters, the length. And I knew, hold on, where's my map here? So I have 2 rows, each row is 5 meters. So 2 rows, 10 meters. What I did was I divided 1,000 centimeters by 70. I knew I was gonna get 14 individual strips, which meant 7 for each one. And the distance between, because these do come with a place to cut them, the LED strips, where you have to cut them here on this specific point, because if you cut like more in the middle, it's going to ruin the circuit, or I don't know how you say, but it won't light up everything. So you have to cut in those specific spots. And I'm measuring, it wasn't exactly 70 centimeters, but very close. I mean, just a few off. And to measure the distance between, so 70 centimeters this way, I knew I was going to get 14 strips. Next thing you know, I measured this and I got around 55 centimeters, because I wanted to get on the middle. So I got 55 just to make it easier to math. 55, I divided by 14 because I was going to get 14 strips. That got me 3.92 centimeters of the distance, which is about 4 centimeters, just to round it to make the math a lot easier. So that's why I started labeling, you know, from this 4 centimeters to that way, to the next one, 4 centimeters that way. I could tell I wasn't exactly perfect, because, you know, I did this by hand. So that's how I figured it out. So knowing math algebra helps out a lot. But anyways, enough of the blah 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 blah. Let me do the rest of them. First thing first, I need to cut all of this out, take that off, because actually this is the one that's going to connect it to the AC adapter. I don't know why they did it the other way, but oh well. The wire I'm using, since when I go to the hardware store, they don't sell, you know, thin wire. They only go to sell the smallest size is 18 gauge. And I actually got this from a USB cable that doesn't work. So the tip of the USB doesn't work, but I used the cable beneath it. Cut it out and came up with 4 wires. And I'm using that. It's real thin. Not exactly what size this is. Okay, done. Now it's time to solder. Now this part I'm not gonna record because it's kind of boring. So I'm gonna get back to you guys when I actually have this done. I'm gonna give a quick explanation of how I did my wiring, since when you saw me wiring it, I didn't actually explain it, and I thought it would be easier for me to actually make another diagram of how I end up doing it. So here it is. So I got my timer, and this timer has 4 slots. Now I'm actually watching this from the back of the timer, and it's labeled like this. This one is labeled B, C, C, G, and D, S1, S2. So it's labeled like that. I got my outlet. Let me do it this way. So this is basically what I did. So I have my outlet coming from the wall, my socket. I have the hot wire coming to here, the neutral wire going to this part. Then I have this hot wire leaving the outlet going to here, VVC1, because you could say this is the, how you say, to power just the outlet. You know, you need the hot wire and the neutral for the timer. I mean the timer. Then I have the neutral coming, leaving, and going here. So right now, just the timer has you say a full connection. So here's the AC adapter for the UV lights, and this is the plug. I have the plug connected to the outlet, right? That way this is always power on. You got the wires coming out, and we're gonna put the strips up here. Okay, pretend these are the strips, you know, strips. You got the cable coming out here, you know, and the other one coming out. Got this splitter. Okay. This kind of doesn't make sense, but you'll see on my little for the LED lights. But anyways, so on this cable I have the 2 wires split. You know, we'll call this the hot, and this is the neutral. Coming from the AC adapter, I have the hot going directly. It's better going directly to the LED lights, right? Now this neutral, let's jump this cable, comes to this slot, and from this slot S2, this comes out. Let's jump this cable and goes to the neutral of this one, because you could say that right here is a switch. And basically that's how my wiring done for this UV unit. Hopefully that makes sense. The only reason I did it this way was because like I mentioned, I don't want this AC adapter to be, you know, on off controlled by the timer. I just want this to be always on, and having the timer just controlling the output of the AC adapter. I just got started in the last part. Hopefully everything went well. I'm gonna double check that I got everything done correctly. Negative and negative. Plug this in. Oh. Oops, wrong button. What's this one? Moment of truth. Oh, yeah, I have to plug it in. All that. I forgot to plug them in. Okay. 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 Yes. So we got fully functioning UV light. UV exposure. Now the only thing that to do is pick up the glass and do a test.